The importance of parents being aware and managing their emotions. Parents have a very important role in teaching their children to regulate emotions. To do this, parents need to be aware of their emotions, be aware of their fears and expectations regarding their child, be capable of containing their emotions, model appropriate self-regulation of their emotions. Donald Winnicott, a pediatrician and psychiatrist, developed the concept of the holding environment. This holding refers to the initial physical holding of the baby by the mother, but it also refers to the metaphorical holding of the child's emotions. A child's healthy development is reliant on having this parental holding environment, which is a relationship that is safe, trusted, and consistent. To explain the holding of emotions, I like to use the analogy of a bucket. A bucket is a container. Parents have a role to hold or contain their child's emotions. Think of it as keeping your child's emotions in a bucket that you hold. Children are not born having the skills to manage their emotions. Children will learn through their experiences how to manage their emotions. Children's emotions and motor skills develop before their language skills do, and so children might use behaviors to express their emotions. The skills your child needs to manage their emotions include identifying emotions, labeling emotions, soothing and distracting from emotions, processing and integrating emotions, problem-solving emotions, managing behaviors. Initially, parents provide all the containment and emotion regulation for their child. A mother pats or rocks her distressed baby. Later, parents and children work together to co-regulate the child's emotions. And later, if done correctly, children would have developed sufficient skills to self-manage their emotions. Part of the parent's role in supporting their child's emotion regulation is this holding of their child's emotions. Practically, this provides time for the parent to help soothe the child and to assist in processing and understanding the emotions sufficiently enough to begin problem solving and integrating the emotional experience. To be able to hold the emotions, parents would need to be open and paying attention to what their child is feeling, and then respond to the child's feelings with understanding, empathy, and respect. By tolerating and validating their child's emotions without immediately reacting, the parent is essentially holding their child's emotions. And this is necessary as these emotions are currently too big for their child to self-manage. The parent helps their child to soothe and problem-solve these emotions. It would be unreasonable to expect children to have these skills without the necessary guidance and teaching from their parents. Children cannot be punished for behaviors that they don't have the skills to manage. Parents would need to have awareness and control of their own emotions to adequately hold their child's emotions. If a parent is aware of their emotions, they are more likely to respond appropriately to their child's feelings. They do not become overridden with their own emotions or the emotions of their child, which would cause them to be immediately reactive. They are able to create space and time for the regulating of the emotions to happen. The needs of the child are addressed, and the parent is modeling to their child how to manage emotions. And this is how the child learns to do the same. Attunement. Attunement refers to a parent's ability to read and respond to their child's emotions in a synchronized and interactive way. During an attuned interaction, A parent is able to identify and respond thoughtfully to a child's emotional needs. The parent needs to read their child's verbal and non-verbal cues accurately. The parent's response needs to mirror the child's emotions, but in a modified way. A modified response is one that is empathic, but not as overwhelmed as the child, or on the other extreme, totally invalidating and dismissive. To be attuned and respond accurately to the needs of the child, parents need to be aware and in control of their own emotions. Else there will be mismatched responses and relationship breakdown. An attuned response from the parent makes use of language, facial expressions, gesturing, and behaviors to show the child empathy and understanding of their feelings. Using language that identifies and labels your child's emotions will help your child to understand and label their emotions in future. Example: I can see how upset you are for losing that game. I understand. It's disappointing when you try so hard and don't succeed. Children should always be encouraged to express all their emotions. It is their behaviors in response to their emotions that might need modifying. Connection grows between parent and child when there is attunement, because a child feels heard, understood, and cared for. Avoid judging, critical, or hostile responses to your child's feelings. For example, it's silly to be sad for losing a game. You're not a baby. Or for example, your child is hurt and crying after being hit by another child and runs to you for comfort. You respond with anger and yell because your child is dirty after falling into the mud when he got hit. An attuned response would be coming down to the child's level, giving him a hug and saying, "I'm sure that was very painful. Let's get you fixed up and then go and talk to the boy who hit you." Children's ability to self-regulate and parents' role. Babies have no ability to self-regulate their emotions. Children have limited capacity to self-regulate their emotions, and parents help the child by co-regulating emotions. Co-regulating refers to a joint parent-child management of the emotions, as I mentioned in the section on holding emotions. Children might be able to manage low-intensity emotions, but they will need help with their high-intensity feelings. Please be mindful that every child has their inherent capacity to regulate emotions, and this is different for every child. This would be due to genetic differences and temperament differences. Co-regulating your child's emotions involves acknowledgement. I can see you are not okay. Labeling emotions. You are feeling. Soothing the difficult emotions with breathing and calming strategies, using distraction, walking, coloring in, and problem solving when calm. I will discuss more about these topics in later modules, but for now, I would like to focus on parents' awareness of their own emotional state, as this would impact on their capacity to contain their child's distress. Think of a time when your child has been emotionally overwhelmed. How have you been able to manage your child's emotions? Has your capacity varied based on your own emotional state? Do you become easily overwhelmed? Consider again the bucket analogy and its function in holding the parent's emotions. Should the parent's emotions fill their bucket, there would be no capacity to fit in and hold their child's emotions. The bucket would overflow, and this overflowing of the parent's emotions results in an escalation and worsening of the situations. Parents' inability to manage in that moment leaves the child feeling unheard or not held. Children might feel the need to contain their parents' emotions by suppressing their own feelings. Children might feel guilty, ashamed, or unworthy of their emotional needs at these times. These children grow up suppressing their needs, but they still have deep emotional needs. They often develop unhealthy dependencies in later life to have their needs met, such as comfort eating, substance abuse, or dependent relationships. Psychologists refer to these children as being parentified. These children appear parent-like, emotionally mature beyond their age and overly independent. However, they are as in need of care and nurturing. Parents need to manage their bucket. Self-care allows parents to empty their bucket, but parents often neglect self-care due to family commitments, but it usually results in overwhelming stress and an inability to be present for their child. It's so important for parents to model good self-care as a means of managing their emotional load. For example, I'm so stressed from a big day at work, I'll go for a short walk just to relax myself. Holding or containing your child's emotions gives a very important message. It tells your child that their emotions are not too overwhelming to manage. This message is essential for your child to internalize, as it will give them the confidence to self-manage their overwhelming emotions in the future. It will also serve to build their trust in you and enhance your relationship and connection to each other. Attachment. Attachment refers to the emotional bond that connects two people. This emotional bond develops through the continued interactions between parent and child. Children attach to their parents for care and nurturance, and ultimately survival. This is believed to be a biologically driven process. Children who have a secure attachment to their parent feel safe and trust that their emotional needs will be responded to in a consistent and empathic way. Children develop insecure attachments when parents don't respond empathically or consistently to their emotional needs. We classify insecure attachments as either avoidant or preoccupied. Children with an avoidant attachment style have learned to suppress their emotional needs, and they don't seek out their parent. This is because their parent has generally been emotionally unavailable. These children might seem very independent, as they have learned not to need anyone. Children with a preoccupied attachment style have had inconsistently available parents. Their attachment system or emotional need is often upregulated during stress, and these children are difficult to soothe. This might be to ensure a response from the parent, but it is often met with inconsistency and ultimately rejection. These children appear needy and clingy as they crave intimacy, but they are doubtful of their worth and they feel shame for their needs. They often feel burdensome to other people. Attachment styles tend to perpetuate into adult years and influence later life relationships. Parents create more secure attachments with their child by responding consistently to their child's emotional needs with empathy and understanding. A parent's responses should be aligned and in tune with the needs of the child. We call these contingent responses, as they are responses that are contingent upon or follow the cues and needs of the child, as opposed to only the parent's agenda. Identifying, understanding, and managing your expectations and fears. I always suggest that parents reflect on their expectations of their child, as well as the fears and anxieties that they hold for their child. These expectations, fears, and anxieties often results in the parent's immediate response to their child. Your child comes home from a long day at school and says, I don't want to do my homework. Your immediate response might be, no way. If you don't do your homework, you're not going to go out on the weekend, and I'm taking away your iPhone straight away. This situation generally escalates into a massive argument. Sound familiar? This reaction is perhaps based on the parent's fear or expectation of their child. Parents might fear that their child will learn to never do homework and be lazy for the rest of their lives. This immediate response, however, lacks self-awareness, and it does not consider or acknowledge the child. It generally results in relationship breakdown and a slamming door. The child is not taught any skills. So, your child comes home from a long day of school and says, I don't want to do my homework. You respond, you sound annoyed. Your child says, well, yes, I am. I always work hard and I never do well. Well, it's clear that a very different conversation is needed to help your child. Guilt feelings commonly influence parents' responses to their child's emotional needs. For instance, a parent returns from working all day but feels guilty for this. Their child, who is sitting on the couch, looks up and asks, can I have $50 to go shopping on Saturday? All my friends are going. You immediately respond, yes. This child has not had the opportunity for learning and might even feel that you are disinterested in them. Indulgence does not attend to a child's emotional needs. It does not teach impulse control, delayed gratification, or frustration tolerance, all of which are important life skills to learn. Acknowledgement of the child's needs is always important, but it does not mean giving in to their demands. Parents with their own unresolved trauma might become overwhelmed by their child's emotions should these trigger the parent's emotions. These parents might dissociate or mentally escape from the situation, which will be felt by their child as unavailable or a distant parent. All of these situations reflect the importance of parents being aware of their emotions so that they don't confuse their child's feelings with their own. Children should be seen as a wealth of possibility. They should be supported to shape themselves according to their strengths and individuality. Always praise your child for who they are and not what they do or achieve. Praise good character traits and skills that they display. For instance, kindness and responsibility. This does not mean let your child do as they want. It means that as a parent, you should guide, teach, encourage, support, and mentor your child that they feel confident and self-assured in who they are. Let children fail, but be encouraging and supportive. Acknowledge their strengths and their areas of weakness, but not as a defect. This will help them to become well-integrated people. Delight in your children. Show them that they are precious and unique individuals, and let your child know that you love them for who they are and not what they are or what they achieve. Many parents think that shaming a child will result in the child stepping up and being more productive, but it leaves children feeling worthless, unloved, and unwanted. Of course, achievement is good, but it's more helpful for a child to develop skills and to feel confident in themselves, despite their external circumstances. Teach children hard work, resilience, flexibility, tolerance, kindness, and self-compassion by emphasizing these skills along the way. I call these transferable life skills.